Hey guys, I'm Haley and this is Extension in the Kitchen. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm so excited to be here with y'all to share a few recipes based off of a program I have been doing for quite a while now called Med Instead of Meds. Med Instead of Meds is based off the Mediterranean style diet, and it aligns with our current dietary guidelines for Americans. So we're going to be making a few recipes today, and the reason I'm still focusing on this is that chronic disease is something that in Extension, it's one of my goals to reduce the risk of chronic disease related to diet and exercises, just like obesity, diabetes, heart disease, things like that we have so much control over by just changing what we put on our plates, okay? So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna make a black bean soup. I love making soups during the cold winter months, but honestly, I can eat them any time of year. So we're gonna make a black bean soup today, and I'm gonna use my Instant Pot. So what I've done so far, guys, is I've already rinsed off my beans. You can rinse off over 1/3 of the sodium on your beans just by simply rinsing them off. And so we're gonna start off by cutting up our onion here. Again, I've done this before, but it never hurts to show some good knife skills. Knife skills are one of the most important things to have in the kitchen, not only to make your recipe, but also to keep yourself safe and from getting hurt. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do this real quick. Try not to make too big of a mess over here. All right, so we've got one chopped onion, and actually you can use a pot or an instant pot for this recipe. I decided to use this today. So what we're gonna do first is I'm just gonna put it on the saute setting so it can start to heat up. And also in this recipe, it calls for a couple teaspoons of olive oil. Olive oil is going to be a healthier fat for us to use. Just visually, any oil that is liquid at room temperature is going to usually be better for us. It is going to be higher in unsaturated fats, lower in saturated fats. Saturated and trans fats do tend to lead to more heart disease and things like that. So we're gonna add that right in. It might be a little bit more than 2 tablespoons, but again, those good fats, we don't have to be scared of eating those. We want to eat more of those. And back in the 90s, we had a lot of low-fat trends. People felt like, oh, if we take a lot more fat out of our diets, it's going to make us healthier, it's going to make us lose weight. And yes, you can lose weight by taking fat out of your diet, but will it make you healthier? Not necessarily. We still need those good fats in our diets. So other good fats that you could consume other than olive oil, like I said, any of our oils that are liquid at room temperature. We've also got peanuts or any other tree nuts. We've got avocados. Avocados are one of my favorite things in the world. I eat them almost every single day. And so those are just a few of the things to consider eating on a daily basis. Get up to 4 tablespoons a day of olive oil. Get a handful of nuts every day. And you will be on the right track with that. So as you can see with my onion, I just made slits along the grooves of the onion, and then I turn it perpendicular to make cuts in the other direction to get my chopped onion, just like that. Keeping those fingers back, of course. And hopefully this is nice and heated up. I love these Instant Pots. They do get heated up really quickly. All right. So there's that. We're gonna let that saute for a couple of minutes here. And we're also going to be adding a couple of spices into this black bean soup. Even if I'm just cooking black beans regular, these are spices I go to time and time again to flavor my black beans. And that is chili powder and cumin. They add just the perfect touch of flavor to our black bean soup. So I really enjoy them. This recipe says you can use one or the other, and it calls for 1 tablespoon. Again, I really like for those flavors to shine through, so I personally like to add just a little bit more. And you're not going to be getting that added sodium from these, so they're just there to add that extra spice, which is a great thing. So, sauteing the onion in olive oil. Again, this is over about medium-high heat if you're doing it in a pot over the stove here. And then we're going to go ahead and add in our spices. Okay. And the next thing we're going to do, we've got 2 cans of our rinsed black beans here. Again, that is removing approximately 1/3 of the sodium, which is really important as, you know, we consume typically so much sodium as Americans, you know, eating a lot of processed foods, going out to eat, and that kind of thing. So where we can kind of cut back on that is going to really help out health-wise, especially if you deal with high blood pressure. So I'm going to add in half of these, or about 1 of my cans. I'm just kind of eyeballing it for now. And just to let you know, so this first half of beans is going to be blended, and so it's going to be smooth, and then what's left over is going to be kept whole. So if you like it more creamy, you might add a little bit more of your beans. If you want it more of the beans still intact, you might keep a little bit more out. That's just kind of personal preference there. All right. So I'm going to mix all that together. And it smells great. I actually made this in here yesterday, and we had the entire AgriCivic Center smelling amazing. And if you didn't know, our extension office is located here at the AgriCivic Center. So if you're ever wondering, how can I come and visit Haley or some of the other extension agents in the county, come see us over here at the Cooperative Extension Office at the AgriCivic Center, and I'd love to tell you some of the other programs that we have going on. Okay? So let's see. Beans, we're going to go ahead and add broth. You can add broth or water to this. I like broth. It's going to add, again, just some more flavor. We've got 2 cups of broth here. I'm going to go ahead and add that right in. All right. Okay. And then the next thing we're going to do is cook this for 4 to 5 minutes on medium heat. So again, if you have it on the stovetop, you're going to just turn that to medium-high heat and do that. Right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add our lid onto the Instant Pot. So this is just giving you another option of a way to cook it at home. So I'm going to add that on, and I'm actually going to change this to a soup setting, and I've got it on 5 minutes, and I'm just going to leave it alone and let it do its thing from there. and then it's gonna yell at me, so, okay. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna let that do that, and we're gonna move on to our second recipe and start prepping that. So we've also got, this is again, another great recipe from medinsteadofmeds.com. I am actually finishing up the program currently at the library here in Albemarle. I actually also taught it this year at our senior center. And so I will be going back to the library and to our West Stanley Senior Center starting in January of 2024. And we're going to be doing more of a hands-on cooking style Mediterranean class. So if you're interested in coming, both of these are completely free to anyone who wants to join us. And it's just a great way to not only learn about how we should be eating for our health, but also gaining more confidence in cooking at home, in the kitchen, for you, for your family, whoever you're cooking for, so that you can do this on your own, okay? So let's start with our salad here. I'm gonna kind of move a little bit closer to my things on this side. So as you can see, I have all my ingredients set up. I have minimal stuff for this salad, but you could definitely, if you like a lot of extra veggies or toppings, feel free to go for it. I wanted to keep this kind of like it is in the recipe for today and not get too crazy with it. But let me move that out of the way so you guys can see me. All right, so we have 2 heads of romaine lettuce, and romaine is in season right now, so you should be able to easily find that at the grocery stores. And you do want to make sure any of your produce, make sure you rinse it off really good, so just in case anybody's been handling it, we can remove any potential pathogens or dirt that might still be intact there. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to cut it up right here. And I like the crunchy pieces too. So I go as far down as I can personally so that I can utilize all of that produce right there. We want to get lots and lots of vegetables throughout the day. Vegetables is one of our food groups that we tend to not get near enough of, and that really needs to be the main focus on our plates is our vegetables. A lot of times when we're planning our meal, we think about what protein are we eating today? Do I want steak? Do I want chicken? But what we really need to focus on are what are the vegetables I'm going to be getting on my plate today, because this is where all of our micronutrients come from, right? And our micronutrients is what is going to be helping our bodies to fight disease, to stay healthy, to recover from sickness, and to feel our best, okay? So again, you can go in there and cut it up as small as you would like, all up to personal preference. And I've got me a nice pretty bowl here to add all this into. I love romaine. It's got such a great crunch to it. One of my favorite greens is probably arugula. I just think it has such a great flavor. Something else that I try to convince and just get all of my class participants excited about is trying new things. We are creatures of habit, and so time and time again, we tend to go back to the same fruits, the same vegetables, just the same recipes over and over again. And the more variety we give our bodies, the better. So it's going to pay off to try new things. I about needed a bigger, lost a piece. I about needed a bigger cutting board for this. I'm just going to use the space I have here. Go in and again make some more cuts so that I can get it to bite size. And we're gonna put this in the refrigerator once we get it done, because I like my salad nice and chilled. Salads are also such a great addition to any meal, just to make sure you're getting more nutrition. So I love a good salad, and there are several different types of salads on Med and Soda Meds. There's also several different types of homemade dressings. Dressings are so easy to make, and for some reason, so many of us just buy store-bought dressings, and you can really add your own spin on it while also making it healthier and get more variety if you make them at home yourself. So we will be doing that here next, okay? So we've got our nice fresh chopped romaine lettuce here, as you can see. I'm going to clear my space a little bit so I have a little bit more room. I'm going to put, so just really quick, I know I'm bouncing around, but the Instant Pot has a couple of settings. You can vent it, or you can turn off the vent. When you turn off that vent, that is when it's able to build pressure, and by building that pressure, you're getting it to a higher temperature. That's what makes this cook so quickly. So, and also it's a little bit quieter so you guys can hear me. So I'm gonna put that on that non-vented setting for just a little bit while that continues to cook, okay? All right, so over here we have our dressing that comes with the house salad. And again, a lot of these things are stuff that you already have in your pantry, so why spend the extra money on buying a store-bought dressing? So let's do it together. All you need is a jar, a mason jar, and we're gonna add in, we've got 1/3 cup again of olive oil. Olive oil, again, I use this literally with everything, and some people like to use different oils depending on what recipe they're making. This is a very versatile oil. You can use it in so many different recipes, but some people are funny about the way it tastes in certain recipes and want to use others. So that's entirely up to you guys. Again, oil and acid. Today we're using a red wine vinegar. This is 5 tablespoons, or it looks like it's right at about 1/2 cup. You could also use any other vinegar, or you could use a lime juice, lemon juice as your acid as you're making your own homemade dressing. Okay? Keep that there. We do have here some sugar. I believe it is a couple, maybe 1 teaspoon. Yeah, 1 teaspoon of sugar, just for a little hint of sweetness. So again, the good thing about making this, you can see how much sugar you're putting into it, along with sodium. Americans consume way too much sugar. Sugar leads to things like diabetes, just teeth decay, all kinds of bad issues that we just don't want, okay? So be aware of your sugar intake. And then you can add any herbs or spices into your own homemade dressing. Today we've got a couple teaspoons of just dried oregano. So throw that right in. And lastly, we've got to add a little bit of a creamy base. We're putting in some mayonnaise, and this is the mayonnaise made with olive oil. It is actually going to be half the calories, but calories aren't really the big deal to me. What you're cutting out when you choose that olive oil based mayonnaise is you're cutting out some of those saturated fats, right? So that is going to be a plus as well. All right, so I'm going to try to get as much of that in there as possible. And we'll put the lid right on. And we're just going to shake it up. Things like this are great to get the kids in the kitchen. I'm telling you, they are so interested in what you're doing in the kitchen, and the more that you can get them involved, not only are they learning and able to hopefully help, but they're also going to get more excited about trying some different things. So if you've got a picky eater, try to get them more involved in the kitchen. Research does show that it helps them to get more excited about trying stuff. So there is our dressing. We're going to put that in the refrigerator. And for now, I'm going to come back to my Instant Pot, okay, guys? So it's been going for a little while. I am going to go ahead and cancel this. And I'm gonna vent it. So, and be careful when you vent it, because what's gonna happen is that steam is gonna come out very quickly. And that's allowing this to depressurize so that we can safely open it up. Takes just a second there, guys. And then once that steam stops going, you will hear that it'll be able to open. It'll kind of give you the ability to open it. So for now, it's kind of locked shut. Okay, so there. It unlocked. We can open it up. And what we're going to do now is, like I said, we're going to take this and we're going to puree it. And I'm going to puree it in my blender so that we get that smooth bean soup consistency. I'm going to grab a couple of these for safety. I'm not going to get burnt today, knock on wood. So we're just going to grab this right out and very carefully pour it into our blender. All right. I love me some simple recipes, and this one is simple and quick and affordable as well, which is very important. All right, so I don't think it really matters which setting it goes on, but we do have a soup setting, so why not use that one? So I'm gonna put that in there, make sure this is clicked on, everything's shut great, and we're just gonna hit start. All right, that looks to be blended thoroughly through, so I'm going to go ahead and stop that. Get a little bit of a facial while we're doing this, which is a win-win. Going to take this off, and I'm going to pour this back into my Instant Pot so I don't have to dirty up another dish. All right, and I can move this guy out of the way. We're all done with our blender. All right. So lastly, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the remaining of our rinsed black beans. I'm just gonna mix those in a little bit. Okay. And we're gonna heat it back through. So what it says, add the second can of beans to the pot, cook over medium heat, 3 to 4 minutes or until bubbly. So I'm just gonna do the same thing that I did the first time, and I'm gonna add my lid back on. The hard part is getting the lid on, but it does kind of make a noise to help you get it on if you can find the spot. That's the trick. And I'm backwards, so. Oh, you know what? It's because that's backwards. See, it kind of makes that sound. And then it's supposed to turn. And then it makes another sound, so you know you've closed it. So there you go. All right, so I'm gonna do the same exact thing, guys. Hit the soup setting, just a few minutes, and let it do its thing, okay? All right, so while that's doing that, let's finish up our recipe. We're going back to our salad here. I'm gonna grab our dressing back out. And again, I usually don't add all my dressing in, but if you know you're about to eat or people like it mixed in, you definitely can. So again, just because I'm trying to follow a recipe today, which is really hard for me, guys, because I usually like to cook with my heart. I'm gonna follow it today and go ahead and mix this salad dressing in. Super easy, didn't take us much longer to make that dressing, and it's gonna be absolutely delicious. You can put that on any other salad as well. And our final toppings that we're gonna put on, we have a 1/3 cup of some pepperoncinis. So we're just gonna kind of top those right on. Again, very simple salad. If you want other veggies in there, go for it. The more color, that's gonna be more nutritional value. And then this recipe also calls for some finely grated Romano cheese. I believe this was a blend that I already had, so I decided to use this. It has Romano, Asiago, and I believe Parmesan. So that looks good. Looks like something you get from an Italian restaurant. Very delicious. So we're gonna put that in the refrigerator so it can be chilling as we're finishing up our final recipe. All right, guys, last but not least, and also again from Med Instead of Meds, because these are all delicious recipes. I use them all the time, and I know they're gonna make me feel good as well. We are gonna dive into our olive oil toast. I know what you're thinking. Olive oil toast? You're supposed to make toast with a bunch of butter, but we're trying to save lives over here, guys. So we are going to do it this way, and I promise it's gonna be just as delicious. We are using a whole wheat bread. If you're wondering, how do I know if my bread is whole wheat? Turn around the package, look at the ingredients. Your first ingredient should say whole wheat or whole grain. So if it's whole wheat, that means all of that grain is gonna be intact. It's gonna be a more nutritious option for you than your enriched grains, okay, or your white bread. All right, we're gonna put this on a medium-high setting, okay? And I'm just showing y'all with one piece of toast. That the recipe shows with 2 pieces of toast, about a teaspoon of oil per slice of bread. But again, we're using those healthy oils, so we're not going to stress too much about that. And then you're just going to take your bread, and I like to go ahead and kind of use my bread to coat the pan, but also to coat both sides of my bread. Okay? I'm just going to kind of do that. All right. And then another tip they give in the recipe is to use like what is it they call it? Anyway, use a pan or something heavy in the kitchen to put on top of your piece of bread, and this is actually going to help it to get more crispy. That's something new to me. I've never done that, didn't know it, but it did work when I tried it, so there must be some facts behind that. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and let that guy sit on there and do its thing. And let's see what we've got. I bet this is almost ready too. I'm actually going to just go ahead because I really just wanted this to heat through. So I'm going to go ahead and move back to my bean soup and turn this off. Okay. We're going to open it up. And again, opening away from your face to prevent that steam from hitting you in the face and you getting hurt. All right. So I'm going to turn that off so it can kind of cool down just a hair, because I'm going to show you guys what you can do next. Let's say you make a big batch of soup. I do a lot of programs in the community, like I said, at our senior centers, and so a lot of the folks that I talk to live alone, and so one of the common trends that I hear is that I live alone, it's so hard to make a recipe for one person. And you know, it really doesn't have to be hard, guys. And one good thing about having less people is that you have more leftovers to eat at a later time. And what I want to show you guys today is a way you can prep a big batch of soup. This one, I believe, serves 6 people. But again, that depends on you, because a bigger person is going to eat more food, obviously. But you can also find now these soup cubes that help you to freeze and portion out your soup, which I think this is the coolest thing ever. I saw it online and thought, okay, we have to try this out. I'm gonna go ahead and flip this guy over. Nice and crispy. And we'll turn it down just a hair. Okay, so you can literally use these, and they have a spot that has a mark for a half a cup and then for 1 full cup, and then you'll just put it in the freezer, and we literally would just pop out our cup of soup into a bowl, heat it up in the microwave, and you've got lunch or dinner for the day, right? So just want to show you guys how easy this is real quick. Let me grab something to pull that out with. Just going to dip in here, grab my soup. And I will say that some soups do freeze better than others. Brothy soups tend to freeze better. You don't want to freeze like your milk-based soups, so keep that in mind. But there are a lot of different soups that you can make that are super healthy. And you can just kind of rotate which soup you want to do. So I'm just going to fill up a few of those so that I can leave a little bit to try in a little while. Okay. But you just put that in there. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off because I bet our bread's done. And then you just pop that lid on. I'm going to wipe that off because that's going to bother me. And just like that, you have, if you know, it's a rainy day, you've been worn out at work, you don't feel like cooking, You can just have soup right there in the freezer to grab out. Make a quick avocado toast and you're good to go. All right, so I'm gonna put this in here, and then wow, it froze that quick. Just kidding. I went ahead and made y'all a batch yesterday so I could show you what this looks like. So I filled up a couple, and we've already got a couple servings ready to go. And what I love about these two is that not only is eating healthy very important, but being aware of portion control is very important, and it's going to help us to maintain a healthy weight as well. So those I have here for a rainy day if I can't get out of the office and I need some soup to try. So that is wonderful. All right, so there's that. And I think we are ready, guys, to plate our food. So I'm gonna grab our plate bowls and show y'all what we have to try today. Okay. Move that. So we've got our avocado toast. And if you wanted to add some, seasoning to your avocado toast, add avocado to it, to your olive oil toast. If you want to add some Italian seasoning or other herbs and spices, that would be really good too. I love doing stuff like that. I'm going to go ahead and put these back in the freezer real quick, guys. All right. So we've got that. Get our delicious black bean soup. You can see we've got the creamy soup mixed in with still some of the whole beans, and it's got those great flavors in there. You could even add some garlic if you wanted some other flavors marinating in there. I love garlic in pretty much everything. Bay leaves. Bay leaves are another flavor I really like with my black beans. Those are good. So we're just going to put our soup in here because it's almost lunchtime, guys. And then what you can do too, our final ingredient here is just top it off with a low-fat sour cream. Or just a little something extra. And we cannot forget about our salad because we need some green to add to this dish. And I don't even need to put it in a bowl. I can just eat it right out of here, right? I'm just kidding. I probably cannot eat all that. Let's add a little bit right here to the side. And that looks delicious. It's nice and chilled, crisp, lots of flavor. And something I wanted to mention before I say goodbye to you guys is my plate is a resource that I utilize a lot in the community as well, especially when I'm teaching my kids, but also as an adult. It's a great way to think how many of my food groups have I consumed throughout the day. And so just with this one meal alone, we are getting in 4 out of our 5 food groups. And so that is always a good goal to have, not only to eat the Mediterranean way for your health, but to think about how diverse your diet is in as far as how many food groups you're getting in as well. And so we want to make sure we're getting half of our plate with fruits and vegetables, or half of our diet throughout the day, fruits and vegetables, whole grains, plenty of whole grains, lean proteins, specifically plant-based proteins, which is what we're focusing on today with those beans. Beans are going to be a great source of protein. and also dairy, choosing low-fat dairy options when we can, such as skim milk, low-fat sour cream like what we have today. And so we are off to a great start today with this meal, and I'm so glad that you guys joined me today. If you have any questions about how to eat the Medway, you know, any of our upcoming programs and how you can get signed up, please reach out to me here at the Extension office, or, you know, you can sign up by calling the library, calling the West Stanley Senior Center, and I hope to see you guys there so that we can cook and learn together. But yeah, that's it. I'm about to dive into this. Thank you guys for joining me, and have a wonderful day. Bye, y'all.